Alright, yo. So, we have done everybody's quests, and now we're going to go back to Galloway and hopefully Duran's will have something to say to Magran. Pray to Galloway and Hellback.
Tread carefully. Let my face be a warning sign to always treat Galloway and his messengers with caution and reverence.
Oh, I thought I was going to say a message.
Soul is dead, and so is her legacy. You have cut down a fierce and cunning line.
If Soul could not defend her position for me, she didn't deserve it. Yeah.
As always, you sniff out the heart of the matter. Worthiness is proven in conflict. Might grappling with might. Flesh tears, bones break, and the ones that mend are stronger still. Blood mixes, and the worthier substance rises to the top. And you have proven worthy.
He lets out a howl that rings through the air. He lowers his head and puffs of steam rising from his panting mouth. Twigs crunch and branches snap. The ground shivers under the weight of the pacing, prowling footsteps. A dozen beasts, bears, wolves, and long-fanged cats stalk out the undergrowth, their matching amber eyes fast on you. Ravius paces about, sizing up the pack and encircling the party as he emits a Stalger's growl. Such powerful specimens, larger than anything I've seen in the deepest forests of Aragonfaf. The father of monsters is deserving of his name. As the beasts encircle you, their master rises to his feet. Even the largest of the bears can only reach his brown and muscle-knotted shoulders. You stand, mindful of the ring of predators surrounding you.
You sought and won the favor of Gallowayne. What new prey do you now pursue?
I must stop fierce ex-Arcanon from feeding thousands of souls to Woodica. A sudden blast of heat scalds your face even as you turn away. The flash of light sears your vision and through your eyelids. When you look back, you see a woman in a full plate standing next to Galloway.
So you know. No doubt one of the others has already enlisted you, and with a different purpose. Nevertheless, hear us.
That's Magran, finally.
Track Theos. Follow the trail he has left for you, and corner him in sun and shadow.
You must stop him before he empowers Woodica.
And if you do, you will have a different decision to make.
In Abaddon's crude yet efficient form, you see an uncanny resemblance to the eyeless. Yet his limbs are more finely wrought, his joints more flexible. You also feel the essence of the eyeless teeming within him. And if you believe you are free to make that decision how you wish it, you have not been listening to our conversations along the road.
Souls were ripped from the world, ripe and full and pulsing with essence. Scatter them like bones to a pack of dogs. Their essence will strengthen the souls of the Deerwood. Let the remains of the dead feed the survivors.
Why would I feed Lost Soul's essence to the rest of the Deerwood?
To breed strength. Power is born from the mixing of essence and blood.
What Theos did cannot be undone. Thousands of lives have changed, and thousands more have ended because of his actions. But transformation gives purpose to trial.
And improvement is the goal of all Kith. Long lives, prosperous futures, stronger minds and bodies. Strengthening those who remain will help repair the damage that Theos has done to the Deerwood.
Yeah, aren't you also preservation, Abaddon?
Essence cannot remain in a dead body, any more than oil in a broken jar. Even though the stolen lives cannot be preserved, their essence can be used to ensure the survival of the Deerwooden remnant. Thus, the memory and vision of the lost may live beyond them. This is the nature of preservation.
Okay, now I've got to find Theos.
And when you descend the pit to sun in shadow, you can count on our assistance to see you safely through. As I hope we can count on yours when you reach the bottom. There are many souls upon the burial isle that are sworn to serve us. They belong to you now, and they shall guide your descent.
But where are the promises of a God Watcher? They are binding, but only in one direction. The beast grows restless, pawing the ground and eyeing you for renewed interest. The bear sniffs at the ground next to your leg. One Stalker skulks into the circle, his amber eyes glowing. Galawain hurls his knife between your feet, sinking it to the handle. He raises his emptied hand.
Hunt him, mortal. And when you stop him, let the souls he has captured feed the Deerwood.
Strengthen the souls of those who remain. Prepare them to face the challenges that will follow. Pledge that you will do this, and we will grant you a power fit for the finest warrior who ever lived.
Betray us, and my beast shall track you down. Our allegiance is not to be accepted and cast aside.
My friend, this is a most auspicious moment. The Lord of the Hunt has spoken to you without omission or riddles. Heed what he said about his beast seeking you out should you stray from the task, for it is not an empty promise.
Yeah, I'll hear what the other gods have to say first.
Consider and calculate, but decide.
Galawain's hand falls, and the growling pack lunges into the circle. The vision vanishes in an instant before returning to Tear Everin, where burning candles replace the glowing eyes of Galawain's beasts. Durance, do you not have something to say to Magran there? Shouldn't Durance talk to Magran there? Pray to Rimagand. It's Skane, okay. The Auroch stands before you.
A clan of Glamfelin ventured from the Whitevat Wens to find the crack in the ice. When you sealed it, you damned their souls to a slow weathering here, one they had sought to escape.
Their souls will eventually break down.
Entropy is not the sudden, violent combustion of heat and flame. It is a slow progression. Fragment by fragment, the elements wear even the mouth.
Oops. The world shudders beneath you. The great crack echoes across the white expanse. The ice splits at your feet, waves lapping through the rift. A low melancholic voice rises from the depths.
I did not expect we would meet again so soon. You destroyed the army that threatened your life.
I didn't think we would either. I'm told I need your help.
What is it you seek?
The Fair Six Arcanon, the man responsible for my current plight.
Yet there is a greater plot at work here, Watcher. Theos acts not for himself. He is the Burned Queen's quiet slave, a master of secrets and schemes.
Theos is a winter gale, unseen by the world even while he carves and shapes it. Woedica directs him, sending him to wipe her enemies from Eora.
And Animancy as well. He would see those secrets lost, the knowledge forgotten.
And he would see his mistress grow fat on the essence of thousands. For her, he has harvested the unborn souls of the Deerwood.
Why does Theos hate Animancy?
He believes that some knowledge is best lost to mortals.
More importantly, Woedica despises it, and he yields to the will of the exiled queen in all things.
Was she his lover before she ascended? What does Woedica want with these souls?
To consume them, to collect her evaporating power, rebuilding what the turning ages have stripped from her.
She would reclaim her status.
With this fresh, raw essence, Woedica will seize power over those gods and kith who have refused to acknowledge her authority, the ultimate act of vengeance.
What now then?
Theos has removed these souls from the cycle. They are ice melting in the sun. Let them fade.
Let them forget this world and be forgotten by it.
Take the souls she so desires and grind them into dust. Let her see her careful schemes thoroughly ruined.
Ground to dust, is it? This skulking thing at least is honest. I like not the sound of this. For several seconds the waves wash quietly against the ice and the Oryx stands silently amidst the churning flurries.
It is the destiny of all things to crumble and join the chaos that follows this world. Some seek it willingly, as you have seen.
To mingle, roiled and stirred by the tides of the universe. It is not an unkind fate.
You would give these souls the very fate you sought to deny the Glanfell pilgrims?
I am the beast of winter. I neither speed nor alter my path for the whims and desires of Kith. I take souls at the time of my choosing, be it mote by mote or in a sudden tempest of chaos.
These souls, they have already forgotten their place in this world. They have been lost to existence. Let them be memorialized and mourned for an age and then forgotten entirely.
I'll seek Theos in Sun and Shadow.
When you reach the Burial Isle, we will send lost souls to guide you through the pit. This is our gift to you. What you do after you face Theos will be your choice, but we would have you set the stolen essence adrift.
And whether you would heed us or no, understand that our end comes to all things eventually. Help us achieve it, and we shall reward you now with a power to rival Theos's.
But do not choose lightly. We forget nothing, least of all a betrayal.
I'll hear the gods first.
Do not wait forever. We wait, but Theos does not.
Right, Finurbran reappears in the distance, trudging away from you. Finally, Beraf. Who's the one will we go? The usher, gatekeeper at the shroud, not here for us I hope. I'm not done just yet. Behind you is a woman, her skin milk pale against her black hair. She wears a suit of armour so dark it seems to suck the light from the stars. The road winds up a mountain behind her.
A toll, traveller.
And here's a pallid night. The toll will grow steeper with time. Pay the pallid night. You drop a few coppers in her hand, and she closes her fist around the coins. You instantly feel a small weight added to your purse. The lord of this road demands a toll of all, but he lends generously, that all might travel the road again. Behind her, the usher grins his lipless smile and waits. The road bores into the mountain, and you find yourself at a gigantic cavern. The ceiling curves up and away, and it's dotted with moisture. At this distance, the shining beads look like stars, clustered with scattered in constellations. The usher on the pallid night leads you up the trail carved into the edge of the cavern. The two identical cave mouths wait up ahead, and you follow the usher into one of them. Standing at the edge and gazing down, you see an endless, ever-changing plain bisected by the road. The only end you realise you're no longer on the road. As you follow the road to the point where it disappears below you, you realise that you're standing in one of the eye sockets of the massive skull. The usher points to the road. Archsteward Reshton appears below you. He's just as you remembered him, stern and smooth-skinned, yet with each step along the road he grows, swelling with blood and essence. His heavy steps become slower and slower until he stops altogether. His distended body fills with wrath completely.
You met a dwarf traveling this road. What did you do?
He lived in the blood of others, I saw justice. Reshton has stood in place for too long, and we all set him moving again. Yeah, Reshton has stood in place for too long, and we all set him moving again. The pallid knight's flesh is taut against her skull. She nods once, barely dipping her chin.
Life is kinetic. Forward motion. 100 beginnings and endings nested within 1,000,000 more.
As Reshton's swollen body ruptures, the effect is like a dam bursting. Ghostly figures, as hazy and indistinct as wisps of smoke, continue along the illy-cleared path. Some tumble and rush along while others amble and drift, but all continue forward. The usher directs your attention to another figure moving down the path. This time you see High Elevate Arona. She follows the road, her movements become slow and erratic, her legs creak with each step, and her feet grow long, thick roots that burrow into the ground. She finally stops, rooted in place.
You found a tree that had lived for centuries. Its roots were deep, and its boughs sheltered many. Why did you cut it down?
It was a parasite. While its branches sheltered others, its roots sucked them dry. All draw their life's energy from death of others. This is why all must remain part of the cycle of death and rebirth. No creature may be a closed loop unto itself. Aurora's belly petrifies below, and the shivering leaves are here below down the path. You seek an elder who's lived his lives on the brink of the cycle. He sits inside the wheel, observing its evolutions. With each life he's plucked from the stream and returned to intact. Why do you hunt Phaeus? For answers is why I'm doing it. He understands what's happened to me.
Always seeking reasons and meaning. But answers are circular, Watcher. To find them, you must begin with the right question. The question is not what Theos has done, but whom he serves.
Another question worth asking. Will we need to beat Phaeus into a pulp to get answers out of him? What are the odds this bloke will be forthcoming with what he knows? It'll be fun extracting an explanation from him. Ravius is just fun. Phaeus says Wodica. She desires to escape from her own cycle, power without decline. Phaeus has removed thousands of souls from the cycle so that their essence might empower her. You must stop him and you must return him to the cycle. What end would it serve to send the souls back into the cycle? Attending these to these souls is a question of stability, Watcher, maintaining the natural order of the world and the ebb and flow of essence. Okay. The usher gestures to the road and the starry expanse below while the Palad's knight speaks. I only show you the motion of the universe, Watcher. Why did Wodica even need Phaeus' help? And why do you mind for that matter? The gods guide souls through the cycle of death and rebirth by orders of the domain of mortals. We stand aside, weights and counterweights. Were one to alter the tides of Kith, all would follow. We would tip this world from its axis. That is why Wodica directs a mortal to do her bidding, and why anyone who stopped Phaeus must be mortal as well. Fair enough. Let's go to Sun and Shadow then.
No mortal can survive the descent into the pit. But there are souls on the burial isle that are pledged to me. I will grant them to you, and they shall bear you down safely, as well as light the way beyond.
A multitude appears at the other end of the road, raising their voices and kicking up dust as they make their way towards you. Appease all the gods. Yay! I return unto the cycle, Watcher. Promise that you will, and I shall give you a power befitting the champion of death. Accept my favour. Well, yes, I do actually plan to return the souls to the cycle, so I will promise to return them to the cycle. So be it, Watcher, do not forget your promise. Right, so the Trial of the Juniors is all that's left for me to do, which requires me to turn to Cadnua. Well, I don't have to return to Cadnua, but Cadnua is a free in, so. And I'm going to have to change screen anyway, so I may as well go to Cadnua. Okay, Junior's over and done with, and then if that's less than half an hour, I should be fine to go to Sun and Shadow and beat Phaeus in that time. I mean, it might be fun to promise a god to do their action and then renege on it just to get whatever they send after you. You know what I mean? Like, you could just deliberately promise to do their thing and then deliberately disobey it, just so they'll do something against you, like send assassins after you so you get more loot at the start of the game and Powers 2. But tomorrow I'll start with Deadfire up. Once I recorded Skyrim today, and then tomorrow I'll get into Pillars of Eternity 2, Deadfire, start it up. And I'll start seeing the choices, all my choices have actions and the consequences. Yes. Well, they have consequences already in this game, but I want to see the consequences in the next game. I'm interested in what happens to this Orlin girl as well, that I kidnapped. Relis, or whatever her name is? Revi?
I'm impressed.
Whatever. Right, rest. Durance! Here we go. Your eyes open to a familiar scene. Durance sits with his staff laid across his lap, a malignant flame sprouting from one end. He's difficult to make out, his features soft, blending together, but the staff you can see is clearly its etchings aglow in the molten orange. Though Durance's face is difficult to distinguish, there's no mistaking the hardening expression, the furrowed brow. His voice hisses and splutters, low and unintelligible, though is having a private argument with the staff. Traces of spittle catch the firelight as they fly from his lips like sparks. And to your surprise, there's a female figure behind him. You're about to call out a warning when you realise it's the Magron statue where you met Durance at the fort, yet she seemed almost alive for a moment. Her cast shadow seemed as if it was moving, cloaked, and it's still frozen with the night at its back. Examine the staff. There's something odd about one of the symbols. The circle are 12 smaller circles. One of the small circles glows brightly, with all 11 give off a little light. They flicker and fade like dying embers. Between his hissing curses, Durance lowers his face close to the staff and blows on the fading circles with panicked rapidity, coaxing light from them, but they do not ignite. One by one, the light of the circles die and smoke rises from their ashes. Only one still burns. Durance hurls his staff at his feet and it clatters to the ground. Its edges have become soft, difficult to find. Like its owner, the staff has become a blur. You close your eyes and reopen them, and Durance is there picking up his staff from the ground, but the blur is gone and you're awake. Right, let's see if we can fucking talk to Durance now and tell him, look, dude. You're a dickwad, and your god has forgotten all about you.
What is it, Watcher?
Does what we learned about Woodacre trouble you?
It stinks of her. It is justice, but if her greater purpose was to think Magron would fall prey to such deceit. And Aethys. Widewind had always claimed to be invading Deerwood to free it. What if it were true? What if he had come to stop Woodacre's plot before it began? Surely Aethys earned his death at Godhammer Citadel, but not for those reasons. Not to keep him silent. If such a thing has brought about this chaos, must we always be tools of gods? If Woodacre and Magron, if they are the cause of this, the Hollowborn, if the purges were never necessary, if Aethys was fighting back,
then your Godhammer didn't save Deerwood, it doomed it.
so many lies. And Woodacre, perhaps she is the next god to fall beneath the Godhammer.
Would it have been better if you didn't spare this knowledge?
No, I am glad to have walked this far with you, seen this truth. Perhaps it was what I was meant to see, with a Watcher's eyes. All these dances of words and intrigues, machines of men, twisted, ripping the souls of children, and by the gods, the goddess of justice. If I could end her like Aethys, Magron burned her once. One can do so again. Woodacre, she must answer to her own justice.
Justice or revenge?
Anyone with a shred of spirit seeks both justice and punishment. It burns in the heart of anyone who lives. All seek it. If the world does not balance, we all drown in the oceans. And the gods would not care. Magron, she must be redeemed. And punishing Woodacre, that will serve.
Do we know that Magron was not a willing accomplice?
Is this some final joke at my expense? To test my faith further? And why would you think that, Watcher?
You said you left Ashfall Hook till the end on your departure.
If all you have are questions, then I have enough of those. She is a bitch of a goddess, to be sure. But even a whore only goes so far in crossing those she serves.
I'm not certain, it's just a feeling I have.
That is all you have, a feeling. If feelings provoked me to say every thought that crossed my mind...
Can I still talk to you? I have questions I might ask you.
If doubts and curiosity plague you...
Oops, nope, wrong button.
If doubts and curiosity plague...
Other
I
questions?
suspect the answer. It was a weapon of Deerwood's.
Something
The cost
different,
of
another
traveling.
vision.
You see many things that aren't there, Watcher. Perhaps the symbol was for your disappearing sanity, and we are to bid it farewell while you still have the wits to grieve for it.
I saw a symbol with 12 circles. What does it represent?
That symbol, the Godhammer.
Then it is the Godhammer symbol I saw extinguished on your staff.
No riddle there, Watcher. It took 12 of us to build the Godhammer. Afterward, I took my leave of all of them to see what Margaret had in store for me. I've seen none of them since.
Are you sure there isn't more to that story?
Your kind has a way of interpreting its visions to fit the version of the truth you like best. But Margren's flame leaves no room for interpretation. Waste the time of others with your distortions and your fever dreams.
Flames may leave no doubt as to what or where they are, but why they are is anyone's guess. Flames distort all that lies around them, and you never seem to be far from a flame.
It's always the way of the mad to try to convince others of a reality only they can see. But when your doctrine's the truth, it requires the cost of troubling me seems to worry you little.
I believe Margaret was allied with Boudica.
Is this some final joke at my expense? To test my faith further? And why would you think that, Watcher?
The others made the Godhammer. They all died, didn't they? That's why I saw their symbols fade from your staff.
If all you have are questions, then I have enough of those. You answer a question with a question.
Right, okay.
And why did I feel her disappointment at Halgot? Why were we shamed?
Because I think she tried to kill you there.
Kill me? She is a goddess. I still drink from her burning breasts, Watcher. If she wished me dead, she could trace me to my source and kill me.
In the dream of the Godhammer, your spirit looked blurred, indistinct in the light, as if it had been sheared from you. He stares at you, his expression frozen. He's silent, listening. If you had been damaged, as I saw in the Godhammer vision, then she may be unable to see you as you once were. Duras turns from you for a moment, his face twists and flops, conflicting emotions running across his features. Finally he turns to you, his face steady.
There's no proof, Watcher. I was a fool to think you could help me see any farther than I could.
If you don't trust me, then trust your staff. Admit the other Godhammer builders are dead. Jonas turns to the staff, and for a moment you see his eyes burning, taking in the edges of the wood, the symbols inlaid there, the 11 faded circles.
They died in the blast, yes. The other 11. I was the only one to walk away. I thought we had wronged our goddess. That this was my trial, and if I could prove myself worthy of her! I should have known better. There is only one God of redemption, and I saw him ended.
As he studies the staff, you feel a wave of heat, a terrible energy rolling forth from it in waves, so much that it feels as if the Godhammer itself is alive in his hands, and past it you hear a cry, like a child being born, and your eyes feel the flash of white, then 100 imagined shades of purple and white, streaming and circling into the howling of a storm, and beneath it the grinding of ancient machines of stone, rock and metal, grinding and turning until all you feel is if it's burning, sinking into the shadows of the earth. Beneath the ground, the only place where a spirit might find refuge. When your vision clears, you see Duras' hands clutching his staff, and his eyes are bright, burning red atop the staff. The flame burns clearly, brightly. As his gaze burns, he rips his gaze away and howls, a bellowing, horrid howl, like a wounded animal, and sweat pours down his brow. We can make this right. We can see that justice is served to her and Boudica both. We can make this right, Durance.
To think I served her, I followed her. Now I shall serve no one. Boudica's lies must be answered. And now it seems I must take fire and war from a goddess's false claim as well. I still take from her strength as I did, for as long as it lasts. For I shall not cast her aside yet, until I have drained her dry and had my fill, just
God.
as she intended for me. For I have learned one of the lessons of the faithful. The faithful may wound a goddess greater than any enemy. A purification is coming, and this fire shall consume them both.
Right. Now that should be... Yeah, the trial of Durance is now over. Right. So I have completed every single quest in my quest log apart from the main one. So... Right, Durance! Goodbye!
You walk your path, I'll walk mine.
And Sagani, you're the one I wanted to take with me. This is pretty much my original team almost, apart from Durance being replaced with Aravius. Right. So I will make a save there before I go to face Blubberbutt. Theos. Oh, I was thinking about who he reminds me of, his voice, and do you know who it is? It's that drunk Daedra from Skyrim, Sanguine. Right. Yeah, he reminds me of Sanguine. Where is my camping supplies? I won't need many when I'm going to fucking... Yeah, that should be close enough for me to get to Theos and kill him within an hour. Yeah, so that's saved there, so that's a saved game for this can be completed my way. No, I'm not going to share it, like, but it's just for me. So I can put it in a backup folder, and that way, if I ever have to uninstall and reinstall, I know where it is, and I can load it up.
No problem.
Right. So everybody's companion quests are all done now. Oh, hang on. There's more souls here. Alright. Is that because I completed all the quests? There's maybe more souls for me to absorb. There was some over here, wasn't there?
Another turn, Inquisitor. I ask again, Jovara Ixensios.
Jovara.
Do you confess to these heresies of which you stand accused?
Jovara, okay.
Do you confess to apostasy?
I confess to renouncing a mistake.
Do you confess to conspiracy against the one true faith?
I confess to opening minds.
Do you confess to false prophecy?
I confess to following a false prophet.
Indeed. And where might we find this heretic?
You, Theos, he's talking about.
He wears the robes of a Grand Inquisitor.
You have no followers here, heretic. Your lies hold no sway in the court of the penitents.
Only my truth, then.
Another turn.
No! Wait! Wait! I'm ready. I'm ready.
You are ready to give a confession?
I'm ready to hear one from you.
Theos shakes his head and points at the Inquisitor, and the scraping grinding of rusted gears echoes in your mind as apparitions fade away. Oh, there's still one up there. Obvious, fuck's sake! Off you go, Devil. It's not going to work because we're not going to make it. We're never going to have enough quests to finish that one, but we may as well assign someone to it. A great pit lies in the shadow of the statue of Woodaka. No light from the surface reaches the bottom, but even so you catch flickers of a ghostly glow in the depths. A wind from the pit buffets you. It isn't cold, but it raises goose flesh along your arms. The wind carries a whisper, low and sibilant. As you look into the pit, souls gather around you. They encase you in a cloud of essence that swirls around your body while you consider your next move. Just jump. So Yovara, her name is. You jump, trusting the promises of the gods and the power of souls to bear you safely down. The sudden drop takes your breath away, but the souls catch you, encasing you in a shining and thrumming aura. And while they slow your descent, you can still feel that you're falling faster than you should. The essence flowing around you is strong but chaotic. You find yourself drifting towards the wall. Mind the wall, Magwai. That would leave all kinds of marks. Athletics 7, flip, directing yourself back to the centre pit. Take control of the souls to guide you to safety. I don't get to pass many athletics checks. But I want to resolve this. Concentrating, you focus on the essence around you and knit it together in your mind. What with a jumble of souls becomes a single entity, coordinated and purposeful. It steers you to safety at the centre of the pit. You manage to spread out your arms and legs into an egg steadying position and the rate of descent. You start to feel more comfortable until you notice that Kana is still falling too fast. Kana plummets, flailing in and out of control. You could attempt to rescue, but the ground is approaching fast. It would take a feat of speed and agility to avoid injury. Resolve. Command the souls holding your companion. Let's do this. You got a resolve check. Your soul reaches towards the turbulent essence surrounding Kana. Through the incredible force of your will, you're able to organise and bolster the lost souls enough to slow your companion's fall. Kana's reaches the bottom with a gentle thump. You reach the court of penitence, millennia old, stones beneath safely under your feet. Your parties consider high levels of content in Act 4. If you like, no, standard. I could have just let Kana falls his doom. Oh god. I wonder if it's always going to happen, or is it just a person with a nut? Is it a random person that gets picked every time? If so, I'll take Jones with me and hope he gets picked. I'm like, bye Jones! But no. I want Jones to suffer. I want him to live and suffer.
What seems like an eternity, your rapid descent comes to an abrupt end. You remain still for a moment while your heart settles and your eyes adjust, breathing in stale, forgotten air. Before you, a narrow and eroded walkway becomes faintly visible in the dim light, cutting a winding path through a cavern so expansive it seems a world unto itself. In the distance, you can make out the cold gleam of living Adra veins that spike and fork in and out of view from the murky depths beneath. Their glow a faint and fleeting guide along the ancient trail. You look above at the opening you jumped through, now barely a speck of light like some distant star, alone in the cosmos, and forever out of reach. Your only way lies ahead.
I don't think this is going to be that big.
That went better than I expected.
What's this?
I think I dislocated my... That's better.
I think that statue of Woodica was watching us soil ourselves on the way down.
Everyone all right? No shattered knees? Good. Just me, then.
That was bracing.
Now, I remember rightly...
Brave thou the Lord believe.
This you attack these.
Let's end this!
Let's go!
Oh. You should be there.
Let's go!
Yeah, that's right. I forgot we have Itomak with us. The pillar tugs at your essence, a pulse from the world itself moves through it. Holy shit.
Brave thou
Right, Itomak knocks some fools on their asses. Heravius, shock the shit out of them. Alof, expose their vulnerabilities. Heravius, get on him. Oh, Heravius, one's broken away.
Consider it.
What's this?
A unique Morning Star and a belt.
Brave thou the Lord.
Right. I got a sort of problem that I'm killing them so fast I'm not getting a chance to properly issue orders, but it's also in fast speed, so...
Brave thou the Lord
Heravius, just shock the shit out of them. Itomak, get in there.
Let's go!
Right, let's clear this place out.
No problem.
I think I see something. Brave thou the Lord.
Right, Itomak, get in there.
That's it!
Heravius, shock as many of them as you can.
Like worth and rock!
Pagani, get that one since Itomak. No wait, that's Heravius. Aloth, get that one, because it'll get as many as possible. Sagani, get that one. Itomak, get that one.
That's not very helpful.
Right, go get that one, and you go get that one. Sagani, get that one. Itomak, get that one. Sagani, turn around and get that one. Itomak to get that one as well. I don't need to loot them.
I'll give it a try. As requested, at least.
Right, that should be the final chamber. Just double check that map. And I have barely took any damage since coming down here. I really am fucking ultra high leveled for this, aren't I? And none of my companions have took any damage so far. Yovara, oh. A column of Adra rises above you, stoic and silent. Its rigid layers a measuring stick for the passing of ages. It feels to you as if a thick block of ice, and you perceive buried deep in its core a dim flickering flame, all but extinguished, yet preserved against the ravages of the elements. At your approach, the flame seems to steady and draw strength. The layers separating it from you melt away, and you're bathed in its glow, a bright beacon in the gloom. The glow seems to fade as though you're just due to its intensity. Where it was, Yovara steeps into existence, an idyllic shade hovering above the moist prison floor. Though ageless, she appears somehow different to you now, a slight stoop to her carriage perhaps, or a trace of sunkenness in her eyes. There's a broad scar across her face, fibrous and wormy, where the flames once lapped, unhealed even in death.
So my love returns to me at long last. You are so different now from who you were then, yet much remains the same. Old troubles with a new face. What is it that has brought you here?
I'd like to free you if I can.
A gallant gesture, if a bit misguided. And yet I suspect there is more to this than you have said. I can only guess your presence here has something to do with Theos. The energy of this place changes when he is near. I don't know what he has done, but I do know of the souls that pass through here now. They do not come by choice.
Theos diverted those from the cycle. He seeks to empower Woodica and to blame Animancy for the damage he's caused.
After all this time, he would still stand against the tide.
You knew me when Theos did. There was something I need to know about that time.
I will tell you what I remember.
There's something about that lifetime of my soul can't let go of. I need to know what it is, and I'm running out of time. I see moments from that time of you, of the Inquisition, of Theos.
I can see his influence, still hanging like a weight about your neck. So it always was. He had inspired something in you. We spoke of him the last time you were here also. It was just after the trial. You were agitated. I think because you started to consider that what I was teaching may have been true.
And what was that? Yovara's mouth tightens and her brow furrows, a look of pity. Her eyes shift back and forth between each of yours, as if looking for something that would help her decide whether to speak.
That the gods aren't real.
Huh. I'd dreaded the idea from the moment the Delimgon suggested it. And yet, it almost feels like a relief. She's not serious.
Nonsense! Clearly she has not been on the receiving end of a god's ire. She'd know how real the gods can be.
There's a theory puts my boldness to shame. But we ourselves have seen the gods' influence.
That doesn't seem possible.
What I taught was that the gods whose faith we had been spreading were not gods at all, but something else entirely. Something created by people.
How did you discover this?
The Anguithan missionaries all knew it, but they never told the rest of us. They meant it to be a secret that died with them, and in the end, they allowed their bloodlines to fade from memory. I had been assigned to join a few of them at a temple. I found the door to their chambers closed, but the room was stone and the door thin. Their voices carried. I heard enough. I investigated the things they spoke of, and everything was there, just as they said it'd be.
Later on, after I left the Order, a few Anguithans found my words persuasive and joined my cause. They revealed what I did not already know. Who created these gods and for what?
They were conceived by Engwith, a society of high minds and broad concerns. Theos' people. In their time, every people worshipped its own gods. Sometimes they warred over it. After a few wars of their own, the Anguithans sought an end to it. They devoted all their energy to finding the true creators. Generation after generation, they prodded and worked the stitching of the world and unlocked its secrets. One day, they found an answer. Except the answer was no answer at all. There were no gods to be found. Or if there ever were, they were gone. It shook them, this finding. If they could discover this on their own, how long until others would? How long before war and chaos reigned over a world without consequence? But they had mastered many things in their pursuit of these answers. And with their mastery, they crafted their own gods to fill the void, and sent missionaries to the corners of the world to spread their faith.
This is why you started your own faith?
I never thought of it as faith, but I think you are right to call it that. Let the world see. Let them decide what to do. That was my faith. I became a missionary because the gods brought me hope that I wanted to bring to others. For a time, the truth sent me to a dark place. Then the day came when I realized nothing had changed, that I still had a purpose, and the purpose was the same and it was worth living for. I began questioning the other missionaries in public, exposing their parlor tricks. In time, their following became mine.
Is it true what you taught?
You asked me this once before. Nothing I can say would be any proof, and it may be certainty your soul craves. Resolution. But if you are bound for the same place Theos directs these souls, you will see for yourself, as you once did. Everyone faces this truth at one time or another. Few confront it. Few have the stomach to ask what if. And in avoiding the question, they deny themselves an identity of their own.
Giovanna scans her audience in silence, her eyes thoughtful, linger on each member of your company in turn, finding interesting in things unseen.
What if all the tragedy, all the persecution, came in defense of an imposter?
But that's not... That can't be right. Aethys, he's done miracles for people.
The power of the gods is undeniable. The truth of the story they weave is not. What if you had always been alone, without guidance?
Well, as poorly as I've chosen my guides, I suppose it would be a comfort to know that I'm free of them.
The freedom has always been. It was the guidance that was the illusion. If all our common threads are spun from a lie, what's left to bind us together?
All of us across Eora are trying to survive, to make sense of the world. What could better bind us together than that struggle? We'll find our own truths. Make them if we must. We don't need an ancient lie to bolster us. United, the Anguithans created gods. Mortal men and women coming together to do the impossible. Let us surpass them.
What if neither guide knew the way? How then would you choose a course?
Wao teaches us that the gods cannot give you lasting wisdom. They can only inspire you to find wisdom in your own time.
He looks at Ursula's smile rising as he scratches his chin.
What if our burdens come to us not because they are meant to be, but because they happen to be?
We fulfill them anyway, because they still matter to the people around us, even if we know better.
You feel the weight of Yovara's translucent eyes upon your soul. What if we can be assured of nothing? Then the only value is in the things we create ourselves. Then we best build our own strength so we can bear it. Then only when we cease to exist as beings can peace be found. Then it is the questions that we have always posed more value than the answers. Then the fewer people who realise it, the better. Then all we can do is endure. Then the only value is in the things we create ourselves. Yeah, that's the questions I always have posed. Then it's the questions that have always posed more value than their answers. We best build our own strength so we can bear it. I like these two. The only value is in the things we create ourselves. Then we best build our own strength so we can bear it. Yeah, the only value is in things we create ourselves.
There is bliss to be found in the things we create, but sorrow as well. Every creation bears the imperfections of its creator, and its creator's creator. Art and song are creations, but so are weapons and lies. We must be careful that our creations do not consume us. I ask these things not to trouble you, but to show why they must be confronted. No answer is simple, but somewhere between them all lies a truth so beautiful, not even a god could conceive it. Do we not owe ourselves a chance to find our part in it?
I don't think it makes much a difference either way. Yeah, we do, even if assurances are still truth, or I don't think it makes much difference. Not number 2, that is shit. We'll go for we do, even if assurances are still away. Truth.
That is truly what you believe. Then you are a far different person than the one I knew. I've been alone here with my thoughts for so long now. I've found peace with my failures, and with my punishment. I no longer curse fate for what might have been. There is one thing that has clawed and scraped at my mind all these years. One thing that will not be put to rest until I know. Until I understand.
Well, I get that feeling.
I need to know why you chose to remain with the Inquisition, even after you'd learned the truth. Do you remember?
Yeah, these all sound like dickish. These all sound dickish to her. Yeah, that sounds the least dickish one to say to her. I was afraid of what affairs might do to me if I didn't agree to do it.
Boudica gifted him a great many things, but his ability to manipulate was always his own. Good. Good. The things I taught, the things I believed, I needed to hear that. I needed to know it wasn't because...
Because what? I need to know what it wasn't because after everything you learned, you'd still rather believe in a lie. If that is the conclusion people reach once they know everything, then my purpose has been a mistake. Do my opinion matter so much to you?
Of all that I loved you for, it was your righteousness most of all. You had heard both sides, seen everything. If not you, then who?
I see your point.
I'm aware of the folly of trying to learn so much from so little. I've had time to consider that in all its facets. But in the end, It was all I had. Even knowing what you've told me, some part of me knows it doesn't truly answer what I wished to know, nor will an eternity of silent contemplation. I will have only my guesses and suspicions, and that will have to do. And what of your understanding of our past? Are you at ease with the choice you made?
Well, I see the world differently now than I once did, and I get what I did to you and wish your forgiveness.
I have always forgiven you. Though I didn't know your reason, I knew you. I knew we had had something wonderful once. Looking back at that has helped me through these many years. At first I thought this might be the source of your soul's anguish. But now I see I was mistaken. You are not divided on this matter. You have put it behind you. It is with Theos that your agony lies, in sun and shadow. Your questions are not for me, but for him. And it may be that only an answer from the mouth of Theos himself will satisfy your needs. Yet if there is anything I can tell you that would be of use, ask and you shall know.
Are you bound here until the end of time?
In a matter of speaking. This is Breath Yamen, the court of the penitents. Souls are confined here until they repent. They must beg the forgiveness of a god, pledge their soul to them, and they will be lifted from this place to the world above. In truth, they receive leniency, but not true mercy. The spite of Woodica is eternal. They linger above, at the site of the old court, and are not permitted to leave the island, forever severed from the cycle. This prison was full once in the days of the Inquisition, but time weathers all things, even will. I'm the only tenant who remains. Yet, I feel their presence strongly now, as it was in the beginning. You have brought many of them here. They cry out for the judgment of Theos. You have struck some bargain with the gods, then.
The other gods aid me because they want Theos destroyed. I owe them no debt.
They aid you because they would bend you to their own purposes. Engwith built gods from ideals, and an ideal on its own is a grotesque and vicious thing. But these souls, these forgiven the gods have bequeathed you like chattel. They were loyal followers in life. They will be with you to the very end.
Let me ask you something else. Time for me to go then, sorry.
Theos will not wait for you. If you do not catch up to him now, you may never find him again.
Well, let's try and get her free of this place. The gods have given me souls of the forgiven. If you repent, you could join with them, help me strike the final blow against Theos.
If I repent, all I have done has meant nothing.
Yes, but being stuck here is you know, you're still a slave to the fucking gods, because they can say, look, this is what happens to people that disbelieve in us, so you're being a symbol for how they can punish people, really. You know, it's a bond now, one that's always been an interleaving of her essence with yours that extremities your perception. You're tied to this woman's spirit, and you can feel a measure of control over it as if you were its shepherd. What are you suggesting? I can disintegrate your soul, make it cease to exist. Then I'll be no different to the other souls the gods have broken in this place. I do not wish to stop fighting them. Yeah, you're powerless as a prisoner. Only when you free yourself from their control will you truly achieve victory. For a long time, Yavara says nothing, looking at her now as she stares off. The fatigue is unmistakable, as though her life has been some dream from long ago. Perhaps you're right, perhaps there's a way to end this on my terms.
I am grateful you came and found me here, no matter the circumstances. You're not exactly who you once were, I have to remind myself. But seeing you one last time and remembering what we shared.
Yeah, I don't want to leave her here suffering for all eternity.
Was better than anything I dared hope for in this place. I suppose I have waited long enough, and I do not wish to delay you any further. Come, let's be done with this once and for all.
I see this as a merciful death, ending her suffering. In your mind's eye, Uvara's soul becomes a doll of parchment. Your focus flies towards the doll and waves of sparks that gather in the clusters at its feet. You push harder on the sparks and gorge, dancing it upwards as flames that climb the base of the doll, curling it, peeling back the woven fibres and turn them into a luminescent orange before fading them to purest black. The doll seems to hang there for a moment as the last of the parchment is consumed by the last of the flame, leaving only a few tenuously connected strands to hold together its shape like some intricate work of lace. Uvara tipped her head slightly to you, and with that the last strands give way, coming apart as the particles of ash that scatter, carried on some invisible breeze into the nothingness beyond. She is gone. Yep, that happened. She's dead now. But that is better than her suffering. So in this formation I have 7 people. I do not need camping supplies.
It's true. The gods are a sham that people have followed for thousands of years.
Anybody else? Oh, Edda and Alof want to talk to me.
Doesn't that just beat all? Here I was, wondering all this time whether all these terrible things were people's fault or the gods. Turns out they might be the same thing. Wonder how things would have gone different 15 years ago if the Raid Sarens had been told their god was made in some forge or kiln someplace. Would we still have gone to war?
People were starving. They were rebelled sooner or later.
I could see the rebellion still happening, but I don't know that they would have invaded. I don't know. When Woden left for war, we, had a fight. As brothers will.
What about?
About him going off to war. He was set on it. My parents warned him. They said you get a new country with every trip across the border, but your god, you only get the one. Me? I didn't know who was right. All I knew was I didn't want him to go. It's the same for families as it is for gods. You only get the one. I said every vicious thing I could think of, trying to change his mind. He brushed it off. Just got me madder, of course, him being so calm. He said I should come with him, but he'd understand if I didn't want to. I told him he'd better be able to face his god one day and answer for what he'd done. He said he'd keep that in mind. And then, he was gone. By the time I'd cooled off, months had passed. One morning it dawns on me that my brother always knew better than me. If he was so sure of what he was doing, then I should be there with him. I packed my things and was on the road that same morning. Of course, what I didn't know then was he'd already changed his mind. By that time, he was dead on that field.
Do you think he went to Wyton because of what you said to him? That seems a bit harsh, but you might have to face the truth at some point.
Crossed my mind. You live in a place like Gilded Vale. You don't have a whole lot else to do other than think about things you don't want to think about. I hope that wasn't it. I hope he went there because it's what he thought was right.
So if you left with him, you'd have known what changed his mind.
I'm not meant to know.
Yeah, sorry, so if you left with him, you'd have known what changed his mind.
If I'd have left with him, we'd both be dead, so I don't know why I bother thinking about it.
Excuse me 2 seconds.
I found my own way in the end, and it wasn't my brother's and it wasn't my god's. I don't know if it was right. But I couldn't abide what Wydwin was doing to his own, god or not. I don't regret it. Whether Wydwin was Eothas, well, it hardly seems to matter after what we just heard. And all these questions I've been trying to figure out. I think I just miss my brother. Still one more mess we gotta straighten out. Come on, then. I still owe you one.
We've been lied to. Our whole lives, and many lives before that. And it's led us to put our faith in a pantheon of gods that never deserved it in the first place. You're right. People will be better off finding direction on their own than following this farce. Besides, the gods haven't exactly done much to prevent us from slaughtering each other. If anything, they've only given us more pretenses for doing so.
Seems like that's all they've been doing of late.
I've also been thinking.
There won't be much left of Theos by the time you're done with him, if I know how you operate.
That will leave the Leaden Key headless. Perhaps it's best it stays that way. Then let's face Theos. When this is all over, I'll make sure that no one is able to commit his abuses again.
Oh, fucking phone calls in the middle of this shit. So why I just was clicking options while I was listening to the phone call. I couldn't actually hear what they're saying, so I'm hoping I never cut them off too early for you. And this is going to be a long episode, but fuck it. I want this. I want to finish this off. Get it done with. Yes, little puppy, I see you. I'll take you out as soon as I'm finished.
Even my Stelgar eyes can't see in this darkness.
Settle! Settle! Enough, boy! That's enough! He's just barking cause Granny called. You can hear her voice. Sebo! Gotta cut it, boy!
Full of surprises, aren't you?
Look at the size of this place.
Look at that. A city to put all others to shame. And long lost.
Incredible! I knew the builders could work wonders, but this is amazing!
Oh, come on. Have I got to fight through all this as well to get to fucking...
That's not very helpful.
Let's get you!
How are they still shades here? Because all the Link Griffins got sacrificed to remake the gods. They were supposed to be sacrificed for the gods. Oh my god, the dragons get sacrificed too?
Brave thou she not.
Holy shit, Itamaka is fucking trapped. You just hit something! He has nothing to do.
That didn't work! Need to try something else!
No problem.
Mate, you are fucking kidding me. I'm gonna have to. The shadow and the carbon suddenly glimpsed and swallowed you. The eyes adjust to darkness. You find yourself in the midst of what's another vision. You're surrounded by mists. The ground feels springy on your feet, and you can imagine that as soon as you take a step, the soil behind you will erase the trace of your passage. As if on cue, the mist before you clear enough just when you take a couple steps forward. You do, and the fog closes behind you. You continue for several minutes in this manner, one step at a time, never seeing any more than the ground right in front of you. Eventually, a rays of light cut through the haze, and you find yourself facing a canyon wall. What's that? Something whizzes past you. Just as you turn, you catch another world movement. Out of the mist flits a shape small and round. You think you see another and another. They tickle the corners of your vision. You turn back to the canyon wall. The sun shifts along its path, and it looks like a smooth rock faces the hollow of a cave. The figure steps out, its features shifting and changing before your eyes.
Can it? It has to be. Wow! But I never thought he'd reveal himself in person. This is incredible. Even his form is fickle and unknowable. Amazing.
The figure transformed from male to female, from Orlin to Amaua, its bones lengthening and its fur receding into flesh. The only detail that remains is constant is a smooth, eyeless face. The whizzing, rustling shapes from the mist, the mere conversion of this figure, and as they form a spinning cloud, you realize that they are eyes.
You understand the value of a mystery watcher, a buried scroll, a hidden truth. These are my ways. You unravel a thread, Watcher, one you have lost and discovered over generations, and following it to its end has only brought you back to the beginning.
Can you speak more plainly? And drain the meaning from you and from the end you've achieved. Yeah, my goal is to see the souls Theos is trapped.
A nebula of souls, blind and brimming with potential. The answer to Woodika's question and the beginning of yours. What would you do with them?
Bereth has asked me to return them to the cycle.
To live out countless lives, each old existence lost to the new. The point is never the end with that last shuddering breath, but all the years that lead up to it. Even the gods require fresh mysteries.
Do not consign the souls to the fate the gods choose, and you have found them now. Scatter them across existence, a destination unknown to neither god nor mortal. Let them be lost again, you answers the riddle. Yeah, but you're the god and you're asking me to do that, so aren't you going against your own act?
In a way. But something must be done, and hurling them from the machinery of other schemes is the truest course of action.
Farewell, wow.
That is a word for endings, and this is but a crossroads. Even I do not know what you would choose.
Yeah, and it'll be a mystery to you. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Because I am trying to get through this. And you're being a dick and stopping me. So I could have just jumped over that gap, are you saying? Jump the freestanding segment. Alright. Can I get injured? There's gonna be another battle.
Raised out the Lord Philly.
Can I get in there?
Need to try something else.
He just keeps knocking his ass. Right, what way am I going? It looks like down the correct way. Hilarious! Chop the shit out of them all. Are they vessels? No, they're spirits.
Let's get a good shot at this.
Hey.
This is going to be a really long episode.
No problem.
But I still got the ending to do and find out all the slides, so... Oh, yeah, I might be here for a bit of a while. How did I go on then? Oh, there's a door there. I needed to open. Oops. Come on, this is going to be a long episode. I might have to do at least Skyrim till tomorrow to fucking... Hi boy! Finally, this is Sun and Shadow.
Are you ready to take the oath? To spread the word of the gods to the lost and heathen?
How may I help?
I wouldn't doubt. If you do not, you will have greater powers than you.
Shut up, fast, Fearless.
You are ready to give a confession?
I'm ready to hear one from you.
Nothing we haven't heard. Just reminders. There he is, Dickwad McGee himself. Where is he? Alright, let's go kill the fucker. You come to a circular room, grand and domed, its walls lined with Ardra and trimmed with copper. At the far end, a great pillar of Ardra pieces. The Ardra pierces the floor below, just like a ragged spike. The shimmering texture gives the illusion of boundless depths. Your thoughts are yours and not yours, they are all questions. At the base of the pillar stands Phaos, a look of concern on his face as he notes your approach. You have something you want to ask him, one question above all others, spinning madly in your mind, but you do not dare ask it yet. You need some admission from him first, some hint of the veracity of your suspicions.
You are far from your post, Inquisitor. What brings you here?
The machine behind you, what does it do?
It has many uses, but its purpose is to bring structure to the chaos that surrounds it.
All these statues, who are they of?
They are monuments to Woodika's greatest servants among my people. I hope to join them myself one day, but my work is not yet complete.
What is this place?
We are in a sanctum holy to Woodika. There are others like it in service to the other gods. I come here often to pray for her counsel, and in this space I may be assured that she hears me.
Was Javara telling the truth?
That woman sought only to destroy the foundations of peace and civility that my people sacrificed everything to build.
Was the entire Inquisition based on a lie?
The Inquisition was based on the need to cut the flesh from a rotting wound.
Having lost all patience for tact, no more evasions. You have to know everything you believed, everything you've done for the gods. Did you lie to me and you said the gods could end suffering? Are there no gods? What is a god?
What is a god? A higher power? A rewarder of good deeds and punisher of the wicked? Something men can turn to in their darkest moments when their days seem only like bridges from one tragedy to the next. Our gods are all these things.
Where Theos is every word you find yourself losing control of a boiling cauldron of rage and doubt and fear and hopelessness until you can take it no more. Are there no gods?
We are in a sacred place within earshot of the gods themselves. This is not the time. You've been through much these past few months. You will return home and you will rest. When you feel you have recovered, you may rejoin us at the trials. The Inquisition is far from over, and I will have need of you. There are many who continue to spread the lies of the apostate. The Inquisition will not end until we have pronounced judgment on all of them.
His eyes linger on you, and there's no mistaking the threat behind it, and your rage shrinks at the image of the iron wheel in your mind, monolithic and caked as the dried blood of thousands. You do not ask your question again.
How did you find it?
Fuck you.
Hear me, Woodica. Your servant calls for aid.
Uh-oh. Game? You dare crash. Right. Kana, head off that one. Adair, head off that one. Me, straight in there. Itomak, straight in there. Sagani, straight in there. You help him, and you help him. On Itomak, you're going right in for the fucking kill. Knock that bastard on his ass. Knock him on his ass again. And I am going to mark him for fucking anything. I don't care, just kill Theos' shell. Zagani, you're helping out Itomak. You two are doing that. Alof, you can just slick in this idiot. Yeah, how do you like it, bitch? Put some tentacles in there. Alof. Kana summon a couple of ogres to help out this. You get busy on him, full scale. Everybody on him but me who'll stay here. No, I said me stay here. Right. Burn the shit out of him. Hit him with everything you got. I evaporated you, Theos. As your feet rest, at your feet rest the body of Theos, hollow and The dense wrinkles shaped by the silent shouldering of an eternal burden now smoothed across his colour-drained face. His soul remains still for a moment, defenceless, its energy expended in defeat. It lies sprawled across his body like a death shroud.
All those lifetimes spent to preserve a single vital secret. I would expect a man to reconsider his choices after the first 500 years.
I hope this is the end, but what's to stop him from being born again with the same ill intent? And before you suggest the option, no, I'm not eating his soul. I'll put almost anything in my mouth.
After journeying for lifetimes, I can't imagine his failure, knowing it was all for nothing.
The things your god is telling you to do. Ask yourself if it's worth it.
He spent his lives, more than any of us will ever know. For what? Binding the world to a lie. Could a man like that ever be redeemed?
Explore his soul. With a deep breath, you plunge into Theos' soul. Doc, what are you up to, boy? Where in Brackenbury it had been a maze of narrow corridors and dead ends, it's now expansive and borderless, its walls crumble into heaps like ruins of Engworth as you pass through them. You travel what seems like ages, rushing to an unknown destination, a memory you glimpsed once before. At last you see it, no more than a pinprick of light at the end of the tunnel. Shit. You come out in the room you're standing in now, but it's new and pristine, filled with people, thousands of them, all turned towards the great Adra, the machine that cases it. Theos stands at the machine and you're one with him now. You look out at the crowd, at the faces of shriveled old men and cherub-cheeked little girls, at mothers bouncing infants to quiet them, and fathers clasping their children's restless hands and watching you with sombre acceptance. A woman with tears in her eyes gives you a small nod. You turn back to the machine, your breath constricts beneath the weight of unwanted knowledge, preparing yourself to set out alone on a journey without end. You close your eyes and open them again to find the machine still in front of you, beckoning. You take your place in front of it and place your hands upon a large mechanical disc at the base of the great crystal column and speak a single word. Giant rings creak to life, building speed, setting arrays of carved draconic mouths aglow and sending tremors through them to the platform beneath you. The entire room shakes now with the force of the cellular machine, all sound drowned out by deep deafening from. Brilliant tendrils of light arc outwards from the pillar in all directions, and you look over your shoulder to see them engulfing the crowd, burning them brightly like hot iron. One by one the tendrils disappear, leaving ashen effigies where the people once stood, many of them disintegrating into grey heaps under the stress of the tremors. You look above to the Adra pillar, and a glowing spherical mass has begun to coalesce atop the column where the arcs converge. It grows in pulses, translucent like a bulb and bulbous like some immense chrysalis, suspended in slow rotation as though it were being spun from the arcs of light. When the last arc disappears, the spectral mass hangs a moment, no longer rotating, so bright that you must shield your eyes with an outstretched hand, and it seems to you as though it's looking at you. You bow your head in acknowledgement and look back up to see it melt into the power like warm candle wax. The pillar flares with a flash of light, bright as the sun itself, then fades to darkness. The machine slows down to an abrupt halt when the last echo of its grinding cogs has passed. The chamber is still, you're alone. From all sides, reality begins to bleed through the memory. You find yourself in your own skin once more, looking down on Theos' lifeless body. You sense a listlessness to Theos' soul, an overwhelming fatigue that hinders its immediate escape. It makes it invulnerable to manipulation. You feel as though your victory has been given some kind of hold over it, and you're able to do as you please. Return it to the cycle, tear soul apart, banish the soul to brave Eman, destroy all memories. No, that's just manipulating him. So we return him to the cycle and let him remember.
I suppose we'll see if he can rise above that.
You feel the pool of intricate Adra capillaries that rise up from the depths below the chamber. Many are bound up with the great pillar and would pass to Wodica, but some are filled with the souls of the dead, bound for somewhere else entirely, and you know these are the paths to rebirth. Stretching your presence as far as your spirit will allow, you make contact with one such path, and between it and yourself you open up what feels like a long tunnel, sheer undulating like the gullet of some enormous beast. You shift your focus to Theos' soul, clinging weakly to its vanquished shell, and with all your concentration you wrench it free and send it hurtling through the channel until it passes into the Adra vein and can be felt no more. In the stillness that follows, a single word escapes through your mind, a word you spoke when you were with one with Theos in ancient memory. You realise it's a word that activates the machine. Ethan Mac, what are you doing? Is that all my memories getting cleared up?
Sure.
No, this Theos is still there. Right, let's go deal with this. Oh no, hang on. Hang on, the companions had something to say. Oh well, with your companions bearing witness, you step up to the place where Theos once stood before his people long ago. Not yet. They all have something to say.
Soul from a long time back, seems like. You get what you needed from him?
I got an answer to an old question.
But maybe that's best. Forces you to find your own footing. Good. That's real good. You got it figured out what you're going to do about all that?
Yep.
Abandoned by their gods. There's not much that'll put the fear in you more than that. You can take my word for it. No, it's not, but if it was, I'd find a way to give them the courage to face it. Not because they think there's some god looking out for them, but because they've just got it in them. I'm sure you got your own ideas.
Hey, hello.
Astounding. I always knew the Leaden Key stood for something big, but I didn't quite realize what I'd gotten myself into. And now, you're in the middle of something even bigger. The decision that will affect millions. But even if you send the souls somewhere specific now, who knows what the next turn of the wheel will make of them? We can't really control what happens to them. Nor should we try. I had to see the monster Theos had become to realize that.
Maybe so.
It's your decision, of course. And whatever you decide, I'm glad our paths crossed in Gilded Vale.
This is them all telling me what they went down with the souls.
Victory looks good on you. There was a blur about your soul that lingers no more. Seems putting Theos to rest has given you some measure of inner peace. Of course, now you need to decide what to do with these trapped souls. So many hopes and dreams, all of them torn from the cycle and trapped for Wall knows how long. You could set them free, nowhere in particular. Just free to go Wall knows where. Think of how many new lives and new journeys could start this very moment. It's all in your hands. I know you are the right person to decide the fate of so many. You helped bring me closer to WoW, and I believe WoW delivered you to this moment, this decision. It has been an honor to be along for the journey.
So he doesn't care what I do with them so long as I decide.
We've come to the end of it, my friend. It has been an honor to walk this road with you, and I will regret our parting.
All the hard-won lessons we have survived, I will carry back with me to Rauatai. I'll try to do justice by your story. It's both stranger and more exciting than anything I could have conjured up. Victor agrees with you, Mogwai. You look as if your great weight is lifted from your shoulders. I'm glad for it.
Never thought I'd see something like this in my travels. Lends a little perspective, doesn't it? All of these notions of who we are, what shapes us. None of it really matters, does it? And yet, if we could heal these broken families, I suppose our journey would be worth something.
What now? Thank you for travelling with me.
I'd probably still be twiddling my thumbs by the side of the road if you hadn't come along. Thanks for bringing us this far.
Right, okay, quick save there, and then we're going to end this. Good! This has been an hour and a half long episode now, almost an hour and 40, yeah. Speak the command. Send the souls back to the reincarnation cycle. Right, boom, ba boom. Channel the phone in your direction, blah blah blah, all the souls are going back. Achievement, won the game.
At your command, the ancient device became your instrument, spinning to life with deafening resonance and gathering up the swirling essence like thread on a great spindle. There, in the pale pulsing glow of the machine that set you on this path long ago, you summoned all your strength, focusing on your objective and blocking out all else. With a single concussive blast that rocked the chamber and sent you tumbling to the ground, you freed the souls from their stasis. Exhausted, your consciousness slipping away, your last sight was of the machine, dark and dormant. Then your eyes closed, and sleep welcomed you at long last.
How do we get back out?
After coming to and searching for some time, you discovered the route Theos used to enter Sun and Shadow, and embarked on a long and arduous ascent back to the surface. You emerged in Ter Evron after days of tunneling through the rubble Theos had left behind, and when you stepped into the daylight, you were faced with a different Dyrwood than the one you had left. At your direction, the lost souls of the Hollowborn were funneled back into the churn of Bareth's wheel to find their way into new vessels and partake in the life they had been denied during Weidwyn's legacy. Though parents of Hollowborn would remain just that, the end of Weidwyn's legacy would bring about a spate of new, healthy births, with many of the infants bearing souls once meant for Hollowborn children. The natural cycle of life and death had been restored to Dyrwood, and with it came a renewed faith in the providence of the gods. Gilded Vale remained under the harsh rule of Lord Radric, who reigned unopposed after the death of his cousin Kolsch. He continued to terrorize the people of Gilded Vale, looking for Aerthasians in their midst. But to Radric, the sudden and unexpected end to Weidwyn's legacy came as a sign of the success and righteousness of his efforts, and in time his own people came to believe it too. He relaxed his use of authority, no longer seeing his own people as potential threats, and Gilded Vale began to regain some of its old luster.
So it turned out alright there, that decision.
Following the assassinations of Duke Avar Wolfgren and Lady Webb, Defiance Bay was thrown into political upheaval. In the ensuing weeks, the streets had become the domain of looters and blackguards. Few dared to step outside their own doors alone or unarmed. But order was soon re-established by the Knights of the Crucible, who, despite their depleted numbers, had gained favor in the public eye for their role in the unraveling of the conspiracy surrounding Weidwyn's legacy, and were quickly reinforced by returning forces from Fleetbreaker Castle. For the Knights, their resurgence marked a return to the tradition as well. Having seen firsthand the dangers presented by dabblers in animancy, the Order quickly abolished the practice internally, preferring the familiarity of their hammers and forges to the uncertainties of Essence and Adra. Their identity rediscovered, the Knights suppressed their political aspirations and began once again to train their recruits in the art of blacksmithing, recapturing the post-revolutionary ideals of Dyrwood and regaining the respect of its citizens as a result. The destruction of the machine atop Ter Noaneth spelled the end of the reanimated corpses in Heritage Hill. Though at first few were willing to venture into the abandoned district, it was soon cleaned out and rebuilt. The district's horrors still fresh in people's minds, it would be some time before it was fully repopulated. But eventually the lure of cheap prime land would all but erase the memory. The Duke's assassination at the apparent hands of an animancer had caused catastrophic rioting in the streets of Defiance Bay. But those who had escaped the melee in the palace hearings remembered the testimonies of the strange guest who had shown up that day and absolved animancy, implicating the Leaden Key instead. The rumor spread quickly, and soon the popular belief was that the assassin had been a Leaden Key spy. When the legacy had lifted, people came to see it not as a sign that the riots had been according to the gods' wishes, as Theos had hoped, but as a confirmation that animancy had never been the source of the problem in the first place. Dyrwoodans instead convinced themselves that the riots had somehow purged Defiance Bay of Leaden Key spies, and that the end of Weidwyn's legacy was their well-deserved reward. The rage against animancers was quickly forgotten, and those who had survived were permitted to return to Brackenberry Sanitarium and rebuild it so they might resume their studies.
Positive effect.
Abydon's renewal brought new vigor and purpose to a god long known for quiet, steady labor. Handicraft saw a revival in the Dyrwood, and no smith wanted for an apprentice. Additionally, Abydon's restored interest in preservation led to redoubled efforts to survey Engwithan ruins. Animancers and craftsmen alike found much to study, but tensions with Eir Glanfath rose.
Oops.
As for Stalwart, the Battle of Caeron's Scar only strengthened their resolve to unlock the mysteries of Durgan steel and build new marvels with the White Forge. However, Stalwart's ambitions brought them into further conflict with the Raid Serens, as more and more impoverished communities gathered at the border and vowed to finish the work of the Iron Flail.
Oops.
It would be many generations before the regions.
I tried
The
to
Flames
get
that Whisper
peace.
Clan found a cautious peace with Stalwart, particularly once the villagers heard of the aid the ogres had offered against the Eyeless. The clan moved back into the Russet Wood, and as Stalwart grew in prestige, the villagers formed a tighter alliance with their ogre neighbors. Within a generation, ogre traders visited Stalwart, and village hunters were welcome in the Russet Wood.
Yep, good idea. That's a good way to end
Releasing
it.
Harmka left the Devil of Carrick with a gnawing dissatisfaction that continued to eat at her long after the Watcher confronted Theos. She resumed her search for the men and women who had raised Cold Moor,
Shit.
clinging to the hope that enacting her revenge might one day allow her to feel something.
Shit. Oops.
Yet, as she hunted and killed, the futility of her actions grew like a leaden weight in her gut. Her movements grew stiff and sluggish as her zeal deserted her. One day, she found herself surrounded in Maiden Falls. As she tried to fight back against the villagers, she felt her arms stick in their sockets and her legs buckle beneath her. The villagers tore her body apart and shattered its segments while she screamed, feeling none of it.
Oops.
Zawa came to understand that the time of the Takan had passed. With his soul no longer fettered to worldly concerns, he grew to become the enlightened Anitle his shaman had foreseen. He took up in an empty monastery near Cold Flow Lake, and word began to spread of his presence there. He taught pilgrims and students how to leave behind their vanity, their fear, and even their past. He invited those who studied with him to share their newfound knowledge, so that all might free themselves from suffering.
Oh good, got something right at least.
Free from the burden of her memory, Maneha soon left the gift-bearers and resumed adventuring. Now that she had a taste for the world, she wanted to experience it anew. Maneha rediscovered her zest for battle, extravagance, and romance. She kept her gaze on the horizon, looking from one journey to another more distant, from the lover in her arms to another more fervent. Hers was a life of excitement, violence, and passion. She moved too quickly for regret to catch up with her, and she hoped only that she might outpace it in the next life as well.
I hoped if I had done something for her to make her remember.
The fortress of Cadnua emerged as a bastion of security in the midst of an untamed land, becoming the envy of every thane and earl in Deerwood. Legend grew over time of its impregnability, and stories of formidable invaders easily scattered by the keep's defenses became popular around the hearths of Deerwoodinians. Likewise, it also became a beacon to travelers, merchants, and visiting dignitaries alike. Reputed as the finest fortress in all Deerwood, people would journey from near and distant lands alike to experience its fabled hospitality and grandeur.
Until it gets blown up.
The Audra dragon known as the Master Below, her soul now housed in the body of the huntress Fallen Roet, passed out of Deerwood in relative anonymity, her final destination unknown, even to herself. She was last seen in the port town of Road's End, boarding a ship, an Audra talisman glowing about her neck.
A ship to Deadfire?
Pallegina had gone against the Duke's Bell's orders by inventing a new trade arrangement with the Anamenfath to accommodate the recovering Deerwooden market. With the Deerwood's people still weakened by Weidman's legacy, the Valian republics easily pushed their would-be competitors out of the market. For her outrageous insubordination and audacity, Pallegina was banished from the republics. She traveled north in the Eastern Reach, avoiding Valian ports and entering the ranks of the kind wayfarers.
Yes!
Despite her bravery and dedication to those in her care, her strange appearance made her feel like an outsider wherever she went. Haravius took his leave of the party and, after his first bath in years, returned to his nomadic lifestyle. With his homesickness expunged, he found renewed joy and tranquility in his wandering survey of the wilderness. For the first time in his life, he ventured beyond sight of the mountains of Erglonfath. During his travels, he penned numerous journals and sketches detailing his travels through frozen tundra, searing desert, and tropical forests. Wherever he went, Haravius left behind stories of the Autumn Druid, a temperamental, one-eyed wise man of the forest, known to bring food to lost travelers, and unusual advice to anyone willing to ask him a question. Adair chose not to return home to Gilded Vale. Still most comfortable far from cities, he settled in Deerford, which, like many towns in the Deerwood, was beginning the slow process of rebuilding. Believing now that it was the obligation of Kith to be the leaders their gods had not, Adair was soon named mayor of the town, and under his guidance, Deerford soon began to prosper. He expelled the last of the Scanites from the area and drew new settlers with the offer of land, a trick he had learned from someone he otherwise preferred to forget. With each passing day, Deerford would come to more closely resemble the Gilded Vale of Adair's childhood, the one worthy of its name. When the dust settled in sun and shadow, Aloth looked upon the remains of Theos Ixarchanon, his former master. He saw where the Grand Master had gone wrong and what would be required to undo the harm Theos had wrought. With a flick of his wrist, he burned Theos's robe, headdress, and every other symbol of the man's power. Never again, he vowed, should Kith live in fear and blind obedience to an authority they did not understand. Armed with the knowledge and courage he had gained on his journeys with the Watcher, he set out on the long and lonely task of dismantling the Leaden Key. With both their aims fulfilled, Kanarua bid the Watcher farewell and sailed back to his beloved Rawatai. There, he reported on his findings to the Lore College. Kana spoke of the Engwithan people, describing both their vile experiments and their inspiring accomplishments. He spoke too of the destruction of the tablet by the Leaden Key, and the group's efforts to erase the Engwithan legacy from the world. Both inspiration and cautionary tales, he said, could be found in the world beyond Rawatai's borders. Kana urged his people to continue to pursue knowledge abroad, so that the lessons found there might benefit Tekoa. Kana's inability to prove his theory of Engwithan influence diminished his academic standing, but his passion drew much interest from those less concerned with degrees. Kana swiftly became an influential figure in the move toward a more collaborative approach to expansion on the northern continent. In his personal life, he came to enjoy the reputation of an affable eccentric, willing to share grand and impossible secrets, along with a drink and a song. With Theos defeated and the souls released from sun and shadow, healthy children were born once again in the Deerwood. The grieving mother sought a place where she might do penance for the birthing bell. She returned to Deerford, where, to the astonishment of the villagers, she delivered the first healthy child in over a decade. She remained there, and with each new birth, she saw a measure of hope restored to the Deerwood, and a measure of grace for her own troubled past. Durrance used Magrin's strength only until Theos had been cast from the world, and then swore off her influence entirely. Regret came to weigh heavily on his mind, and a man who had never previously lacked for words or opinions came to embrace silence and contemplation. He continued to wander, penniless and destitute, searching now not for the reason for his goddess's silence, but for a mechanism for revenge. The charred robes he continued to wear as a reminder that he had been burned by his goddess, and not just by the flames of the Godhammer. After 5 years of searching for Persoc, Sagani's 4-month journey home felt longer still. The Deerwood, Aer Glonfoth, the Valian republics became places on a map, endless expanses of green between her and Nasitok. Her homecoming was celebrated by all of Masuk, yet it was the reunion with Kalu and their children that truly brought her joy. She relinquished her role in the long hunts, and ever after, she and Itumak spent their days working in the village and their nights at her hearth. She watched her own children and their children grow and thrive. When she finally passed, she lay surrounded by the affection and tears of 5 generations.
Aww.
For you, the death of Theos brought an end to your waking visions, and a silence to the whispers of the past. In their absence, you were able to sleep. The questions of a distant lifetime ceased to trouble your soul. All that remained was what to make of the answer. But at the moment, there was little to be done, and the matter would have to wait. A long journey loomed ahead, made no easier by your decision to bring an infant to
Oh my god, that registers the fact that I had that child. I was expecting just to fucking adopt, get a child adopted or some shit. Right, zoom! You can slow it down and read all that if you want. Oh my god, it actually references the fact that I had a child in Sun and Shadow. Oh, that is good. That gives me hope for what's going to happen in Deadfire. If it references a child in this ending screens, I am hoping the child will be referenced in the fucking Deadfire. What dare start the game up and be like, yeah, well, it can't be worse. This can't be any worse than the time you took a child into Sun and Shadow to fight a fucking maniac. Oh, this is great. Hi dog, I see you. Yes, I'm going to take you out now as soon as this is finished. There we go, powers alternative. Blah blah. So that is the game over with. Oh my god. I love the fact that it referenced that child in this ending screen. Anyway, so I'll see you all next time, which will be in